That said, I'm thrilled that this rocky season, maybe the most unfocused and ineffective yet, appears to be rallying in time for a gripping final 2 episodes, one that is sure to introduce the new cast addition we've all been waiting for, Samuel L. Jackson's Nola King. Tulsa King Season 3 is finally starting to go somewhere in Episode 8, taking one of the darkest turns in series history as Dwight tortures the evil bomb maker, Dexter Deacon. Overlooking the fact that Dunmire going to prison ended up having no real effect on the show, having Dexter approach Dunmire to collectively swing back at Dwight was an intriguing progression forward for both their characters. Of course, since it is Tulsa King we're talking about, Dwight is able to swoop in and save the day just in the nick of time with a superhero-like quality. While somewhat cartoonish and Marvel-esque, this does make for a compelling sequence that also gives key supporting characters, like Spencer, Tyson, and even Bigfoot, more to add to the story than their typically light workload. Episode 8 finally serves up the big, dramatic moment that audiences have been waiting for. It also pulls all the plot threads of the Paramount Plus show together. Nothing is Over could be even bigger and more shocking, but for what it is, it will get viewers talking in a way previous episodes haven't. The biggest issue with Tulsa King Season 3 is the number of plot threads it's left dangling. The story has wandered in various directions, starting to get fans excited about something and then forgetting about it the next time. That problem still exists in Nothing Is Over, which is co-written by Sylvester Stallone. The cliffhanger from Season 3, Episode 7 of Jeremiah Dunmire being arrested amounts to absolutely nothing. It's just minutes into Episode 8 when Dunmire is seen walking out of jail. This is a huge missed opportunity. So many things could have been done in his absence or because of his absence, even if it would have meant sidelining the incredible Robert Patrick for a limited time. Nothing Is Over is a clear effort to tie all of Tulsa King's various ideas together into one whole. It would have been more surprising from a dramatic standpoint if viewers didn't know where Deacon was planning to hit, and the bomb ended up in Body's shop instead, using the fundraiser as a fake out. That would have been the true shock, making viewers think they knew where the bomb was and then proving them wrong. However, that also doesn't make as much sense. Margaret is high profile in her own right and she's Dwight's girlfriend, so she's a much better target. Having to explain how Deacon knows and cares enough about even higher plane or anyone likely to be there would be tricky. The coolest thing that happens in Nothing Is Over is actually the pivot point in the episode. Cole Dunmire does indeed turn sides, coming to tell Spencer that the hotel is being targeted. It's because of Cole that anyone has a clue what's happening, as Spencer tells Tyson, who then tells Dwight, who informs Musso. Bo Knapp's character is a hero, and a lot more interesting. At the beginning of Tulsa King Season 3, there was nothing remarkable about him. But these added shades have made him one of the most interesting characters, and his choosing Spencer, and whoever else could get hurt, over his dad turns Cole into someone to be rooted for instead of rooted against. With Deacon no longer part of the problem, Tulsa King is back to the Dwight vs. Dunmire rivalry, but now on a much more public level. Plus, Thresher and his campaign are now connected to that, if only through the attention that's obviously going to follow a bomb explosion. This episode does a fine job of slimming down the story so that the last 2 hours can get to the conclusion. Especially since the show still has to introduce Samuel L. Jackson's character for the planned Nola King spin-off. There's not a lot of time or space left. Nothing Is Over could have taken bigger risks and delivered more excitement, but it provides plenty of entertainment while putting the series back on track. Deacon, the bomb maker that Dwight is trying to help Agent Musso catch, randomly shows up on Dunmire's doorstep and delivers a monologue about why he now wants Dwight and anyone close to Dwight dead. His method of doing this is to plant a bomb at the fundraiser Margaret Devereaux is helping Cal Thresher with. Everyone else discovers this when Cole Dunmire turns up at a party Spencer and Tyson Mitchell are throwing to expand their business efforts from the previous episode. The fact that Deacon targets Thresher's fundraiser is not a surprise. Any savvy audience member can put 2 and 2 together even before the shot of Deacon going into the hotel. It's a big, splashy event, so it makes a big splash when the building blows up. But that doesn't make it less exciting to watch. Most notable is that Dwight and Mitch Keller are involved with helping to evacuate the building. Of course Margaret's presence is a factor, but it's a nice reminder that Dwight and Mitch care about innocent people too, and do their part to prevent what could have been a horrible tragedy. Dwight Manfredi, Sylvester Stallone, has spent most of this season of Tulsa King on the back foot, facing his most ruthless opposition yet in Jeremiah Dunmire, Robert Patrick. Last week's episode saw a few lifelines finally thrown Dwight's way, with Attorney General Zack Ryder, Tim Guine, now in Dwight's pocket, and under his protection. Additionally, Jeremiah's right-hand man, Chief Heavy Son Cole, Bo Knapp, hasn't broken ranks yet, but he seems primed to do so soon, having been wrestling with his conscience lately. That turn of fortune is likely aided in part by his increasing crush on Manfredi's bartender Spencer, Scarlett Rose Stallone, while Jeremiah continues to push him away. There's no word yet on the missing Bill Bevilacqua, Frank Grillo, or what Quiet Ray, James Russo, is going to do, but at least Manfredi is finally getting some disorder in his chief enemy's camp. Episode 8 starts with the reopening of the distillery, thanks to Zack Ryder's new patronage. It's a pretty big win for the crew. Elsewhere, Jeremiah Dunmire leaves his brief incarceration after physically attacking AG Zack Ryder, and he and Cole don't seem that happy to see each other. Deacon, the bomb maker that Dwight is trying to help Agent Musso catch, randomly shows up on Dunmire's doorstep and delivers a monologue about why he now wants Dwight and anyone close to Dwight dead. His method of doing this is to plant a bomb at the fundraiser Margaret Devereaux is helping Cal Thresher with. Everyone else discovers this when Cole Dunmire turns up at a party Spencer and Tyson Mitchell are throwing to expand their business efforts from the previous episode. The fact that Deacon targets Thresher's fundraiser is not a surprise. Any savvy audience member can put 2 and 2 together even before the shot of Deacon going into the hotel. It's a big, splashy event, so it makes a big splash when the building blows up. But that doesn't make it less exciting to watch. Most notable is that Dwight and Mitch Keller are involved with helping to evacuate the building. Of course Margaret's presence is a factor, but it's a nice reminder that Dwight and Mitch care about innocent people too, and do their part to prevent what could have been a horrible tragedy. A guy like Quiet Ray is the perfect person to hit Dwight with a reality check, one that will rearrange his priorities very quickly. Force a sting on Ray or Deacon, leading to a twist where Dwight turns the tables. The face-off scene shows Dwight's crew armed against Dunmire's mob. That's my take on Tulsa King Season 3 Episode 5. If you're excited, smash that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns, and turn on notifications so you don't miss my recap after it airs. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Today we're diving into Season 3 Episode 5, titled On the Rocks. If you haven't caught up through Episode 4, hit pause now because there will be major spoilers ahead for what's already aired. For Episode 5, which drops tomorrow on Paramount+, we'll cover previews, teasers, and my predictions on what to expect. Let's get into it. Season 3 kicked off with Dwight Manfredi, played by the legendary Sylvester Stallone, facing new threats in Tulsa. After Season 2's chaos, Dwight's empire is expanding, but so are his enemies. Episode 1, Blood and Bourbon, introduced the Dunmire family as major antagonists, stealing Dwight's prized 50-year-old bourbon. In Episode 2, The 50, we saw Tyson messing up big time, leading to the heist. Episode 3, The G and the OG, ramped up the crew's efforts to track it down, with some redemption arcs kicking in. And Episode 4, Staring Down the Barrel? Phew, that was intense. Dwight and his team stage a brutal railyard standoff to recover the bourbon. Tyson gets a lead from Serenity, who turns out to be a spy, a classic twist. They muscle their way in, but it ends with Cole Dunmire's death. Meanwhile, Margaret pitches a fake dating plan to help Cal Thresher's governor run, which Dwight's not thrilled about. Jeremiah Dunmire drops that ominous line, "The war is heating up." Now, for On the Rocks, previews suggest this one's going darker and more explosive. The big hook is the fallout from Cole's death. The Dunmires aren't letting that slide, expect Jeremiah to rally for revenge, putting Dwight's control on shaky ground. Alliances might dissolve, who's really loyal in Dwight's crew? We could see betrayals from within, turning friends into foes. Old enemies might resurface too, bringing grudges or shady deals. On the political side, Margaret's scheme with Thresher could create jealousy or blowback for Dwight. And with Quiet Ray back in the mix from episode 4, maybe he plays a bigger role. Overall, it's about escalating the underworld war, with Dwight making some brutal choices to hold onto his empire. Previews tease power shifts and dangerous confrontations. Can't wait. Dwight goes scorched earth on the Dunmires, but it backfires with law enforcement or internal leaks. Maybe Tyson's arc leads to more family drama. Margaret's plan? Total recipe for relationship tension. Dwight's territorial, remember? Could Thresher betray them post-election? And with the season halfway done, this episode might set up a mid-season twist, like a major alliance flip or another death. What do you think? Drop your theories in the comments. Episode 5 is anticipated to explore the immediate aftermath, with previews emphasizing a shift to darker, more volatile storytelling. Key anticipated elements include retaliation from Jeremiah Dunmire, who warns of an intensifying war, potentially leading to violent confrontations that test Dwight's grip on Tulsa. Betrayals are a central theme, as alliances within Dwight's circle may fracture, with not all members proving loyal amid mounting pressures. The return of old foes could introduce new grudges or opportunistic deals, complicating Dwight's strategies. Politically, Margaret's proposal to aid Thresher's campaign by posing as his partner introduces relational strain, given Dwight's possessiveness and Thresher's history as a rival. This subplot ties into broader power dynamics, where Thresher's potential governorship could benefit or endanger Dwight's empire, depending on loyalties. Character developments in Episode 5 are expected to deepen existing arcs. Dwight faces moral and tactical dilemmas, balancing aggression with vulnerability as enemies multiply. Tyson, seeking redemption after his heist involvement, may encounter further tests of loyalty. Margaret's independence drives her political maneuvering, but it risks alienating Dwight, highlighting themes of trust in relationships. The Dunmires, fueled by grief over Cole, represent old money privilege clashing with Dwight's street-smart mob ethos. Supporting characters like the crew and Serenity could pivot into betrayers or allies, adding unpredictability. If the premiere of Tulsa King Season 3 felt like a bit of a corrective to a lackluster second season, Episode 3 feels like it's proving a point and then some. We've already had tense sit-downs between Dwight and the new big bad, Jeremiah Dunmire. We've roped in almost every surviving character from the previous 2 seasons, and we're starting to genuinely imperil the core cast. Things are getting serious, they're already serious, and they're going to get even more serious very quickly. This is what you want from a show like Tulsa King. Taylor Sheridan can be prone to bouts of self-indulgent excess, and that sort of thing can derail a season. These tight episode runtimes don't provide much leeway, so I'd rather a bit less depth and build-up, especially since a lot of these relationships and dynamics have been developing for a while, and more head-on collisions. That seems to be the 3rd season's guiding MO. Long may it continue. Before we unload the chaos of Episode 4, let's rewind to that gut-punch ending of the G and the OG. Dwight's out here playing 4D chess with his new distillery empire, but things go sideways fast. Tyson's living his best life at Stroker's strip club, throwing stacks like it's nothing, but boom, Cole Dunmire's goons snatch him up. They drag him to some abandoned warehouse, and Cole's got him staring down the barrel of a shotgun, ready to paint the walls red for messing with the family business. Meanwhile, Dwight's on a creepy road trip with that shady Fed, Agent Musso, the guy with a personal grudge from Dwight's pre-prison days. They pull up to a sit-down with Jeremiah Dunmire, who's got his local muscle surrounding them like it's a bad western. Dwight ain't backing down from the distillery fight, but the feds are circling, and that secret 50-year bourbon stash. It just fell right into Dunmire's lap. Alright, Episode 3, the G and the OG, was straight fire, literally. Dwight's bourbon empire is booming, but the Dunmire family's not having it. Tyson, our young gun, goes full spy mode on Cole Dunmire at Stroker's strip club, but gets snatched by Cole's crew. Blindfolded in a warehouse, staring down a shotgun, talk about tension. But plot armor activates, Mitch and body track him via phone, roll up in that bulletproof Cybertruck, Elon would be proud, and bust him out in a hail of bullets. Tyson escapes, but not without dropping a warning to Cole, war's on. Meanwhile, Dwight's playing diplomat with Jeremiah Dunmire, but Agent Musso, that fed with a grudge from Dwight's old New York days, is stirring the pot. Cleo, fed up, straight up sets fire to Jeremiah's land as payback. And the kicker? Cole's goons raid Dwight's storage, swiping his secret bourbon stash. Dwight's left fuming, team tensions are high, and Musso's vendetta is bubbling. Meanwhile, Grace, Tyson and Bodytail Cole Dunmire in the least possible of stealth vehicles, Tyson's Tesla Cybertruck. They follow Jeremiah's son to a warehouse, and when they follow him inside, they find a bingo game full of senior citizens. So they sit and play. Goody shows up mid-game. "I thought we were about to get into something nefarious," Grace explains sheepishly, explaining her reason for calling him. Goody looks around for 2 seconds and clocks that Cole and his goons are running a scam. And he proves it by interfering with the age-old con so that Tyson wins. Cole is super mad, but he pays Tyson rather than make a huge scene in front of the marks, a clientele. Dwight's crew go to a strip club named Strokers, side note, eye roll, after, and Tyson throws around so much cast that a dancer named Serenity takes him back to a private room. They talk about their individual futures. She's got dreams, you see, she just wants to get out of Tulsa. When their intimate moment is interrupted by Cole, who puts his gun to Tyson's head. Well, so much for that goldmine Dwight was sitting on. Theodore Montague's 50-year-old bourbon, the secret reserve that was supposed to make Manfredi millions, falls into Dunmire hands at the end of this week's Tulsa King. And the worst part about it? A member of Dwight's crew is responsible, though can you really blame him, given the circumstances? If you watched, you know what I'm talking about. And if you didn't, keep reading for the highlights of the G and the OG. Agent Musso contacts Dwight and says he's got a mission for him, and he'll send a car. Dwight dodges his suspicious sister's questions and gets in the ride when it arrives. It's a self-driving car, which freaks Dwight the fudge out to the point that he pulls his gun and tries to kill the driverless vehicle. Sounds weird, but it's quite funny. Musso knows about Quiet Ray, calling him the boss of bosses, but Dwight won't confirm anything. They wind up getting pulled over for speeding by a local cop, and when Musso's FBI credentials don't impress the guy, Dwight steps out of the car and works his charms on the officer. He makes up a story about how pathetic Musso's life is and why he was speeding. Musso watches the whole exchange from afar, by the way, and eventually Dwight schmoozes them right out of the ticket by promising the cop some Oklahoma City Thunder tickets. But what does Musso need Manfredi to do, anyway? There's a lowlife named Deacon. This guy is pure evil, Musso says, who works in a jewelry clock repair shop, and Musso needs Dwight to go in there and act like a mafioso to gain the man's trust for future operations. So he does. Later, on the way back, we get the sense that Musso's mission actually isn't officially sanctioned. Whatever is going on with Deacon, it's personal. At the end of the hour, Dwight is hanging out with Margaret when he gets a call from Goody. He immediately goes to the Montague property to find his wheelman battered and the bourbon stolen. "How bad are you, Tyson?" he asks, concerned. "I'll live," Tyson replies. "Dunmire won't," Dwight promises. Oh, and also of note, Armand's wife shows up at the distillery, frantic. He never showed up to see their kids, and now he's not picking up his phone. "My husband is missing," she cries. At the end of the hour, Dwight is hanging out with Margaret when he gets a call from Goody. He immediately goes to the Montague property to find his wheelman battered and the bourbon stolen. "How bad are you, Tyson?" he asks, concerned. "I'll live," Tyson replies. "Dunmire won't," Dwight promises. Jeremiah Dunmire and his Dixie Mafia son Cole are the new big bads, torching Dwight's allies like Theo in a warehouse blaze. Episode 2, The 50, dropped last Sunday. Dwight's scrambling for distribution on that rare 50-year-old bourbon stash, but Dunmire's hitting hard with threats. Tyson stepping up as the muscle, Manny's loyal as ever, and Tina's pressuring Dad to go straight. Cleo's reeling from her dad's death, vowing payback. Ends with sirens blaring as Dwight stares down Dunmire's goons, total powder keg. The official promo and trailers for episode 3 are fire, about 30 to 60 seconds each, packed with clues. I've watched them frame by frame, and here's the breakdown. Spoiler warning, this is based on official Paramount Plus promos and fan breakdowns as of October 2, 2025. No leaks, just legit teasers. Let's dissect. Things are heating up, that's for sure.